I'm 67 years old, and 2 years ago I made a decision that cost me my relationship with my children. I sold the family home, the house where they grew up, the house where my late wife and I raised them, the house filled with 40 years of memories. I didn't ask their permission. I didn't give them months of warning. I just sold it, and they haven't spoken to me since. This is the story of why I did it, and whether I regret it. My name is Gerald. Most people call me Jerry. I bought the house in 1984. I was 29 years old. My wife, Helen, was 27. We'd been married for 3 years, and she was pregnant with our first child. The house was a 3-bedroom colonial in a quiet neighborhood outside of Pittsburgh. It had a big backyard, good schools nearby, a finished basement, room to grow. It wasn't fancy, but it was ours. Helen loved that house from the moment she saw it. She walked through every room, her hand on her belly, planning where the nursery would go, where we'd put the Christmas tree, where we'd have family dinners. We brought our daughter, Rebecca, home from the hospital to that house. 2 years later, our son, Michael. 3 years after that, our youngest, Sarah. That house was the center of our lives for 40 years. Every birthday party, every holiday, every milestone, it all happened there. Helen died 3 years ago, pancreatic cancer. It happened fast. 6 months from diagnosis to the end. After she was gone, the house felt different, emptier, quieter. But I stayed because I didn't know what else to do, because leaving felt like abandoning her somehow. The first year after Helen died was the hardest. Rebecca lived about 2 hours away with her husband and 2 teenage daughters. Michael was out in Colorado with his wife and young son. Sarah lived locally about 30 minutes from me, but she had her own life, her own career, her own apartment. They all came around at first. Rebecca would visit every few weeks. Sarah would stop by for dinner once a week. Michael would call every Sunday, but as time went on, the visits became less frequent. The calls became shorter. They had their own lives to live. I understood that. I spent a lot of time alone in that house. Too much time. I'd sit in the living room where Helen and I used to watch television together. I'd walk past the kitchen where she'd made breakfast every morning for 40 years. I'd sleep in the bed we'd shared for decades, her side still empty. Every corner of that house reminded me of her, and I couldn't tell if that was comforting or torturous. About 18 months after Helen died, I started having problems with the house. The roof started leaking. The furnace broke down in the middle of winter. The plumbing backed up. The deck was rotting. The gutters were falling off. 40 years of deferred maintenance all came due at once. I got estimates. $10,000 for the roof, $8,000 for the furnace, another few thousand for the plumbing. The deck would need to be completely rebuilt. I was looking at $30,000, maybe $40,000 in repairs, on a house that was probably worth $250,000 at most. I was living on a fixed income, my pension and Social Security. I had some savings, but not enough to throw $40,000 at an old house. I called Rebecca and told her about the situation, asked if she had any advice. She said, "Dad, why don't you just sell the house? It's too big for you anyway. You don't need all that space." I was quiet for a moment. The thought had crossed my mind, but hearing her say it out loud made it real. "What about all the memories?" I asked. "What about everything your mother and I built there?" "Dad, the memories aren't in the house. They're in you. You can take them with you wherever you go." She made it sound so simple, so logical, but it didn't feel simple. I thought about it for weeks, months really. I walked through that house, room by room, remembering. The corner of the kitchen where we'd measured the kids' heights every year on their birthdays. The living room where we'd opened Christmas presents. The backyard where Michael had his 8th birthday party. But I also noticed things I hadn't paid attention to before. The carpet was worn. The walls needed paint. The bathroom fixtures were outdated. Everything looked tired, just like I felt. I was 65 years old, alone in a 4-bedroom house that was falling apart around me, spending my days maintaining a property I didn't need and couldn't afford to fix. Was this what the rest of my life was going to be? Rattling around in an empty house, waiting to die in the same rooms where I'd once been happy? I made the decision one morning in late spring. I woke up, made coffee, and sat at the kitchen table, the same table where Helen and I had shared thousands of meals, where the kids had done their homework. And I realized something. Helen was gone. The kids were grown. The life we'd built in that house was over. I could either keep clinging to the past, or I could build something new for whatever time I had left. So I called a realtor. I didn't tell the kids right away. I wanted to get my ducks in a row first. I wanted to have a plan before I brought it up. The realtor came out, walked through the house, gave me an estimate. She said with some minor cosmetic fixes, I could probably get $275,000, maybe $300 if the market was good. She suggested I clear out some of the clutter, update a few things, stage it to show better. I spent the next few weeks sorting through 40 years of accumulated belongings, boxes in the attic, tools in the garage, Helen's clothes still hanging in the closet. It was harder than I expected. Every item felt like a piece of my life I was throwing away, but I kept going because I knew if I stopped, I'd never finish. I listed the house in July. I told the kids the day it went on the market. I called Rebecca first, told her I'd made the decision to sell, that I'd already listed it. There was a long silence. "You already listed it?" she said, "without talking to us?" "I'm talking to you now." "After the fact, Dad. You made this huge decision without even asking what we thought." "Rebecca, it's my house. I didn't think I needed permission." "It's not about permission, it's about respect. That house is part of our family. Don't we get a say in what happens to it?" I didn't know what to say to that. I hadn't thought about it that way. "I'm sorry," I said, "but the decision is made. The house is on the market." She was quiet again. Then she said, "Fine, do what you want." And she hung up. Michael was even angrier. He called me that evening, after Rebecca had apparently told him what was happening. "Dad, what the hell are you thinking?" he said, his voice loud. "You're selling the house? Mom's house? Michael, your mother is gone, and I can't keep living here. It's too much. So downsize, rent an apartment, but don't sell the house. That house it's everything. It's where we grew up. It's where Mom lived. I know that, but I can't afford to keep it, and I don't want to live in it anymore." "You don't want to live in it? Dad, do you have any idea what you're throwing away? All those memories? All those years? I'm not throwing anything away. I'm just moving forward." "Moving forward," he repeated, his voice bitter. "Is that what you call it? Erasing Mom from your life?" That hurt, more than I wanted to admit. "I'm not erasing your mother," I said quietly. "I'm trying to survive without her." He didn't respond. And then he hung up too. Sarah came over the next day. She didn't call first. She just showed up at the door. "Dad, we need to talk," she said. We sat in the living room, the same room where I'd comforted her when she was a child, where we talked about everything over the years. "I can't believe you're doing this," she said. "I can't believe you're selling the house without even talking to us about it. Sarah, I'm 65 years old. I don't need to ask my children for permission to make decisions about my own life. This isn't about permission. This is about Mom. This is about our family. That house is the only place we have left that feels like home." "It's not your home anymore," I said gently. "You have your own home, your own life. But it was our home. It's where we came from. And you're just selling it off like it doesn't matter." "It does matter, but I have to think about what's best for me now, not what's best for preserving the past." She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "I don't even know who you are anymore." The house sold in 3 weeks, a young couple with 2 small children. They loved it. They could see their family growing up there, just like mine had. I was relieved and heartbroken, both at the same time. I started packing. The kids didn't offer to help. None of them came around. They'd all made it clear they wanted nothing to do with my decision. A few of my neighbors stopped by to say goodbye. Some of them had lived on the street for as long as I had. They understood why I was leaving, even if my kids didn't. The day of the closing, I walked through the empty house one last time. Every room echoed. All the furniture was gone. All the pictures were off the walls. It looked smaller somehow, less significant. I stood in the kitchen, in the spot where Helen used to stand while she made dinner, and I said goodbye to her, to the life we'd built, to the years we'd had, and then I locked the door and left. I bought a small condo in a senior living community about 40 minutes away. 2 bedrooms, a little balcony, a community center with activities and social events. It was nice. Clean, manageable, easy to maintain. I didn't need to mow a lawn or fix a roof or worry about plumbing. If something broke, I called maintenance and they fixed it. For the first time in years, I felt light, unburdened. But I also felt guilty because my children were furious with me, and they'd made sure I knew it. Rebecca sent me an email a few weeks after I moved. It was long, detailed, angry. She said I'd betrayed the family, that I'd sold their childhood without their consent, that I'd disrespected their mother's memory. She said she needed time to process what I'd done, and until she did, she didn't want to talk to me. Michael was blunter. He sent a text message. I hope you're happy in your new place. Don't bother calling. I'll reach out when I'm ready. Sarah stopped by once, about a month after I moved in. We had coffee. We made small talk. But there was a wall between us that hadn't been there before. When she left, she said, I love you, Dad. But I'm really hurt right now. I need some space. And then she was gone. That was 2 years ago. In that time, I've sent birthday cards, holiday cards, emails, text messages. I've invited them to visit, offered to come see them, asked if we could talk. Rebecca responds occasionally. Short, polite messages. Thanks for the card. Hope you're doing well. Nothing substantial, nothing real. Michael doesn't respond at all. He's completely cut me off. Sarah sends a text every few months. I'm okay, work is busy, hope you're good. That's about it. They haven't visited, they haven't called, they haven't forgiven me, and I don't know if they ever will. I've had a lot of time to think about whether I made the right decision. Some days, I'm sure I did. I look around my condo. I think about how much easier my life is now. How I'm not drowning in maintenance and bills and memories I can't afford to keep. I've made friends here. I play cards on Tuesday nights. I go to the exercise class on Thursdays. I have coffee with a group of guys every morning in the community center. I'm not isolated anymore. I'm not sitting alone in a big empty house, waiting for my children to visit. I have a life, a small one maybe, but it's mine. Other days, I wonder if it was worth it, if having an easier life was worth losing my relationship with my children. I sold a house, but I lost my family, and I don't know how to get them back. I talked to a therapist about it, a counselor who specializes in family dynamics and grief. She asked me if I thought I owed my children an apology. I said I didn't know. I'd apologize for not discussing it with them beforehand. But I didn't think I should apologize for making the decision itself. She said, Do you understand why they are so upset? They think I erased their mother, that I threw away their childhood. And did you? I thought about that for a long time. No, I didn't erase anything. I couldn't keep living in the past. I had to move forward. Have you told them that? I've tried. They won't listen. She nodded. Sometimes people need time. Sometimes they need to grieve the loss of something before they can accept that it's gone. How much time? I asked. I don't know. That's up to them. I got a letter from Rebecca about 6 months ago. It was handwritten, 3 pages long. She said she'd been thinking about everything that happened, about why she was so angry. She said the house represented security to her, that it was the one constant in her life, that no matter how much everything else changed, that house was always there. And when I sold it, she felt like I'd pulled the rug out from under her. She said she understood that it was my decision to make, that it was my house, my life. But that didn't make it hurt less. She ended the letter by saying she was trying to forgive me, but she wasn't there yet. I wrote back, told her I understood, that I was sorry for the pain I'd caused, but that I couldn't apologize for trying to build a life for myself after her mother died. She didn't respond, but at least she'd written. At least there was some communication. Michael's silence has been the hardest. He was always the most sentimental of my kids, the one who held on to things, the one who cried at movies and kept every photograph. I think the house meant more to him than it did to the others, and losing it felt like losing his mother all over again. I've sent him letters, emails, I've left voicemails, I've tried to explain, but he won't engage, and I don't know what else to do. I've thought about flying out to Colorado, showing up at his door, forcing the conversation, but my therapist says that might make things worse, that he needs to come to me when he's ready. So I wait, and I hope that someday he'll be ready. Sarah called me last month. It was the first real conversation we'd had in 2 years. She said she'd been in therapy, working through her feelings about the house, about Mom, about me. I think I understand now, she said. Why you did it. I don't know if I agree with it, but I understand. I'm glad, I said. I never wanted to hurt you. I know. I think that's what made it so hard, because I knew you weren't trying to hurt us. You were just trying to survive. And that felt selfish, I guess. Maybe it was selfish, I admitted, but I didn't know what else to do. We talked for almost an hour. About her life, about mine, about mom, about the house. It wasn't like it used to be. There was still some distance, some hurt that hadn't healed. But it was something. It was a start. I think about the house sometimes. I drive by it occasionally, even though I probably shouldn't. The new family has painted the shutters a different color. They put in a new mailbox. There are different curtains in the windows. It's not my house anymore. It's theirs. And that's okay. It has to be. Because holding on to it would have meant staying stuck. And I couldn't do that. Not if I wanted to keep living. People ask me sometimes if I regret selling the house. And the answer is complicated. I regret the pain it caused my children. I regret the distance between us. I regret that I didn't handle it better, that I didn't communicate more clearly, that I didn't give them time to process before I made the decision. But do I regret selling the house itself? No, I don't. Because staying in that house would have meant drowning in memories I couldn't afford to maintain. It would have meant isolating myself, cutting myself off from the possibility of building a new life. And I wasn't ready to give up on life yet. I'm 67 years old now. My children haven't spoken to me in 2 years. Not really, not the way we used to, and I don't know if they ever will. But I'm learning to live with that. Learning to accept that sometimes you make decisions that are right for you, even if they hurt the people you love. I wish I could have made everyone happy. I wish there had been a way to move forward without causing pain, but there wasn't. And I had to choose. I chose myself. And I don't know if that makes me selfish or brave or just human. A friend of mine, another widower who lives in the community, asked me recently if I'd do it differently if I could go back. I thought about it for a long time before I answered. I'd communicate better, I said. I'd give them more warning. I'd sit down with each of them and explain why I was doing it. I'd let them have their feelings without getting defensive. But would you still sell the house? He asked. Yes, I said. I would, because staying would have killed me. Maybe not physically, but emotionally, spiritually. I was dying in that house, and I didn't even realize it until I left. He nodded. Then you made the right choice. Did I? I lost my kids. You haven't lost them, he said. They're just processing. Grief is complicated. Give them time. I hope he's right. I really do. I got a text from Rebecca 2 weeks ago. It was her daughter's birthday. My granddaughter turned 16. Rebecca sent me a photo. My granddaughter smiling, holding a cake. Thought you'd want to see this, the message said. It wasn't much, but it was something. I wrote back. She's beautiful. I'm so proud of her. Thank you for sending this. Rebecca responded an hour later. You're welcome. 2 words, but they felt like a bridge, a small one, but a bridge nonetheless. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know if my children will ever truly forgive me. I don't know if we'll ever get back to the relationship we had before, but I know this. I'm still here. I'm still living. I'm not hiding in an empty house, mourning a life that's over. I'm building something new, something smaller maybe, but something real. I have friends. I have activities. I have purpose. And I have hope. Hope that someday my children will understand, that they'll see that I didn't sell the house to hurt them. I sold it to save myself. The house was just a building, walls and floors and a roof. The memories aren't in the house. They're in me. They're in my children. They're in the stories we tell and the moments we remember. I didn't erase my wife by selling our home. I honored her by choosing to keep living after she was gone. And I hope someday, my children will understand that. I'm 67 years old. I sold the family home 2 years ago. My children haven't spoken to me since, and I'm learning to live with that. Because sometimes loving someone means making choices they don't agree with. And sometimes the hardest person to choose is yourself.